Welcome back to the program. If your child is falling behind at school, it could be your fault. There is new research out that has found a link between children who missed out on simple childhood activities and those who started school with learning problems. Apparently, toddlers who watched 4.5 hours of television every day instead of playing started school with poor emotional development and motor skills. For more, teacher Sharon Witt joins us from Melbourne. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Kerri-Anne. How are you going?
I'm fascinated with this survey. So kids who basically watch over 4.5 hours of television, it's a babysitter, let's face it, it's an easy option. How have they started school compared to others who didn't?
Well, I think, Kerri-Anne, it's about striking a balance. I mean, clearly, yes, we're in a society where television viewing is a big part of that. It's about striking a balance between having your child watching television, and there are some fantastic programs that do help children prepare for school and helping with, I mean, I grew up watching Sesame Street, and that's fantastic, but it's also about providing other activities where children can learn the skills that they need to for starting school. Things like cutting and pasting and counting and reading with your child. More importantly, I think one of the most crucial things is that children feel adept socially to be able to start school. So making sure they're involved in playgroups or just socialising with other children and being able to play really well. I think that's probably the most crucial thing in preparing for school.
So the kids who just end up watching too much TV without an interactive family or physically getting outside, we just think it's kids playing, but they're very important learning skills and honing the crafts of motor skills and emotional. So these kids are starting with poor emotional development, which is what we're learning, and that must make it very difficult when they're whacked in a room of 10 or 15 or 20 other kids.
It does, Kerri-Anne, and you really notice the children that haven't had a lot of time socialising and outside climbing trees and just doing things actively. And when they get put in a school environment where they're going to be in a classroom with maybe 20 or 30 other children, they need to be used to sort of, sharing and being able to cut and paste and doing lots of little activities. And if they've been at home sitting there watching television and not really doing a lot, this can really be to their detriment when they start school. So we really want to have children having a good, healthy balance when they're in the time leading up to starting school.
But I guess if kids can't go outside and play and get into a bit of mischief out with their brothers and sisters, a lot of them are lone kids. Makes it hard.
Yeah, look, we're in a society where there's many children that are just in a single-child family. We're seeing more and more of that now.
So realistically, how should kids start school? What skills and education are they expected to have by the time they hit school?
Yeah, look, I think, many of them can write their own name or at least recognise their own name, and basic counting skills and knowing letters of the alphabet. They don't need to know all of it, but at least to have a little bit of a grasp of words and of knowing how to count. There's some basic skills, but also the motor skills are really important. Being able to cut, being able to work independently, being able to sit and draw and being able to socialise with other children. They're sort of some of the key indicators that a child is ready for school. I know when my son was preparing to start school, the kinder actually suggested he hold back another year because socially he was still finding it quite difficult to play with others and to do things by himself. So he had that extra year. So it's important to listen to other educators as well as to whether your child is ready for school.
And when they do start school, when do you know you're being a pushy parent, you want them to learn all the right skills and do their homework and get all that happening? How do you know that balance?
Yeah, it's very important we strike a balance because there are so many extracurricular activities that are available to children, from music lessons, drama, and many parents start those, from well and truly before school. It's important to have that balance, and I think parents need to be even more involved when they start school. I mean, children need to have that parent at home, and we know parents are busy, but it's really important that they're home just to help them consolidate the things they're learning at school, such as listening to them read and going over some of the number patterns. We're not talking about hours of homework here, Kerri-Anne. We're just talking about consolidating.
Down. Now, over the weekend, there have been some horrific stories. A mother fatally stabbed after chasing a bunch of teenagers who were egging her home in Melbourne. A 13-year-old boy also was seriously bashed by another another teenager after trying to burgle a home on the Gold Coast. And a teen stabbed after leaving a party in New South Wales. And this one just horrified me. There was a police blitz on underage drinking in Sydney City, the CBD. 20 teenagers. And when the police actually called the parents, they apparently refused to come and pick their kids up. I mean, what chance do any of these teenagers have if their parents don't even care or know where they are?
Kerri-Anne, this has been absolutely alarming this morning, and unfortunately this is a trend. With not all parents, we've got to remember a lot of teens are fantastic and, you know, well balanced, but unfortunately this is a growing concern. We have a lot of teens that are involved in alcohol. Unfortunately, when alcohol and young teenagers, especially boys, are involved, all things go out the window. Or, you know, their ideas of actually being able to problem solve and be able to think through consequences is drastically decreased when alcohol's involved. And I just spoke to a mother this morning whose child was at a party but down in Melbourne, where a boy was stabbed on the weekend after trying to help another boy who was on the road who'd been drinking, and he was stabbed and is now in hospital. And unfortunately, when alcohol is involved, Kerri-Anne, this is really difficult, and parents need to be involved. I don't care if your child is, 14, 15, 16. Parents need to know where they are. They need to keep tabs on them, and they need to be available to pick them up when these parties finish, Kerri-Anne.
And that supervision has to start at 1, 2, 5, 10. It's not going to automatically start at 15. But, hey, Sharon, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Valuable advice.
Thanks, Kerri-Anne. Good morning.
OK, here is an idea for you.